I am the president. I'm the president of the Washington Metropolitan Area Chapter. Thank you all for joining us here this evening. Just a few administrative updates. We will have this meeting recorded, as you just heard. If you would mute your phones, your microphones, and turn off your cameras unless you're speaking, that would be greatly appreciated. We will have a few administrative updates regarding the chapter and what is happening and report outs from each of our membership chairs. And then we will go into a presentation for the evening, which is actually going to be a debrief of the International Symposium. There were 4 of us that attended from our chapter. And so that is the plan for this evening, the agenda for this evening. Hello?
Yeah. Well, I think these are fine. We shall, I think, we'll see. There's that, we can move chairs. Thank you.
See someone last of the past, yeah.
Well, thank you. John, we got some more here. We're good.
I don't know why my screen is just.
It's just frozen.
I don't know.
What is it?
To move.
I get this delay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I've been tapping and I've been tapping.
Yeah.
All right, so we've gone over the virtual housekeeping. And so for those that are online, feel free to put your name and who you work for or the school that you attend, and we will network with you via the chat. Here's the agenda for the evening. As I mentioned, I will make a few announcements, and then the committee chairs will report out. And then there will be a presentation from the 4 of us that attended the International Symposium in Ottawa, Canada, and we'll talk about a few of our next steps.
So it's not maybe it's not delayed, it seems to be frozen on one of the slides, so.
Really?
I'm not here, but on the Zoom. Yeah.
Oh.
So, I thought it was advancing, but just in a delayed fashion, that's, it's just as normal. If you have 2 screens, somehow it thinks there's 2 screens.
Let's see. That's it.
You see anything on your screen?
Yeah, I see her
Moving around,
moving things
okay,
around.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's what we see. That's
Okay.
Okay,
well, now we see, no, let's see that.
So now I probably share the bit.
You do the window, when you put it on PowerPoint mode, it won't share the screen. It'll only share the editing window, not the presentation window.
thank you, Microsoft, right? I'm just kidding.
So the one that we're seeing, what you're seeing now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a program.
Okay, so let me see if I can minimize this.
Could we just change it from extend to duplicate window? So that way it shows both on the screen. you do Windows P, it should pull up display options.
Okay, I only want to show one screen though. Let's see here. Okay, so can everyone see the president's message? That's where I
Yes.
left off.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so my message to you all this evening is that one of the accomplishments that we've had, first of all, we were on break for July and August. And so this is our first meeting back in session for the second half of this year. And one of the things that we accomplished earlier this year from June until August is that the Washington Metropolitan Area Chapter, along with the Northern Texas Chapter, provided SEP certification prep courses. And so we had a couple people from our area. The bulk of the folks were actually in Texas that participated in these sessions. And so we're looking forward to some new SEP certified folks coming out of these sessions. The next thing I wanted to share with you all is that we are working to provide services to the system engineering community here in the US. And one of the missions that we are currently working on is to engage with other chapters to establish a government system engineering job series. There are other engineering series, but not a specific system engineering job series in the government. And so we have spoken to the higher level of INCOSE, and we were told that we need to work this mission, this effort at our level. And so we have, I've spoke to several folks while I was at the IS in Canada, and we have been working with other members, other chapters across the US um, to pursue getting the system engineering job series. Gary Thomas, our past president, wasn't able to join us here this evening, but he, along with Bill Scheibel and others in our chapter, we are spearheading this effort, and we have also created a template, a letter that we are hoping to share with all of you all to share and send out to your senators, the folks in your areas to encourage them to get behind us with regards to creating this system engineering job series. We are also working very hard to keep connected with our student chapters here at George Mason University, as well as George Washington University and Virginia Tech. Our ambassador chair will speak more on this. Dr. Tika is here with us and he'll share more this evening. And then last here on this list is how we are working to engage with more of our chapter membership. We have over 800 members in our chapter. And one of the events that we have coming up in the upcoming quarter is to have a resume review workshop and have mock interviews to help students get prepared for the job market, and also given our current climate for those that have lost their jobs to help them getting their next job. So look for more information about that as well. And there is a workshop coming up very soon regarding resumes and interviews. And then lastly, we are planning to have a fundraiser to be able to generate some funds to help our system engineering students to be able to attend some of the international workshops and symposiums. And so we are going to be putting together a committee to get the fundraiser up and running. I am very pleased to say that we are winners of the Silver Award. Our chapter provided information by way of all of the combined efforts of our chapter in terms of the outreach that we've done in the system engineering community, all of the events that we've held. There's just been a variety of work that has been done, and we were awarded the Silver Award. So a round of applause for the Silver Award. Right. And so in case you all are not aware of who is actually on the board for our chapter, as I mentioned, I'm the president. We have Vice President Dr. Sean Naw, past President Gary Thomas, Programs Chair Ruchira Piri, Treasurer Brian Massa. Our Secretary is here with us, Barbara Staples. Director at Large, Dr. Sue, who's online, I saw you. And as well as our other Director at Large, Bill Scheibel, I saw him also online. Communications Chair, Paul DeMarco. I know he was away, but he was going to try to be online. Our Tutorial Chair, Cal Miller. Membership Chair, Dr. Mary Burley, who is out of town. Ambassador Chair is here, Dr. Rye, Dr. Tika Rye. Our Events Coordinator, I believe Kathleen Flynn is online. Our Newsletter Editor is Nalini Mapala. And we have 3 student chapter faculty advisors. And so they are listed here as well. And so we actually have information with regards to each of the student chapter boards. Here is the list. I'm not going to go through all the names here, but George Mason University. If anyone is here that's on the board, please raise your hand. And you are?
Colin Craig.
I'm sorry.
Coordinator.
Oh,
Colin Craig.
excellent, excellent. Nice to meet you.
Nice.
Did I see another hand? No. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming. And so we also have our George Washington University student board here, and then also our Virginia Tech. Not quite sure if they're online. If you are, please speak up. You can come off mute and let us know that you're here. All right, hearing none. As I mentioned, Dr. Mary Burley is out of town, wasn't able to be a part of this meeting this evening, but she did provide information regarding our membership in terms of updates. We had 18 new members that joined in the month of August. Are any of you all here? I'm not going to call out all 18 names, but if you're on the call or in the room, please let us know. And we also have, looks like 6 new SEP certified folks. So we want to give a round of applause for them as well. It's a major accomplishment. All right, so I am going to turn the floor over now to Dr. Rye so that he can share.
Oh, I want to turn the microphone on.
Okay, there we go.
Speak to this.
Yeah, it'll go to that.
Oh, right here. Okay, it's right by me.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody, I got good number of updates to share. And the ambassador committee has been, or had been rather, dormant for a few years, but now it's back alive and vibrant. And right off the bat, if it wasn't for the CAP leaders, CAP reps, and also the board members and the student chapters leaders, who will be here today. So first, I want to share about the student chapters for the calendar year for school, this 2025-2026. GMA already has scheduled its first event on the 16th, GWU on the 15th, right? And good news, our board members, some of us may be able to join the event. That's awesome news. Whereas in VT's case, they already did their part, which is great news. And it was a short notice, so we couldn't really join from the board member side or the committee. My apology, but that's great going already, right? As you can see, a little flyer on the right-hand side too. As the officers' information come in, the new officers that is, we will update our website, and that will happen by the end of the month. Next one is what the committee has done so far is also creating a master calendar so that all student chapters can proactively come and update the calendar So it's shared among all the student chapters, right, including some of the board members. By that, we can collaborate and cross participate in the events. And like I said, in some of the events, we will be there, and also would like to encourage other CAP members to join in the events as well. But it's more based on the theme of the event, right? Sometimes there's a particular topic that the student chapters may want to host. For that, I will reach out to our broader CAP members for your interest, if you would like to join and talk about that particular topic. And primarily, we're gonna just do this year with the three university student chapters. But further down the road next year, we'll also target other universities that we are in communications. All right, so can we go to the next slide? All right, so there are two major events coming up hosted by GMU. This is the first one. This is the CESAR or the CSER conference that's going to be held next year between April 6th and 9. And I'm not going to go into detail, but it's a conference. Maybe John, you want to say a few words since you're already here?
Sure, yeah, so this will be held in our Arlington campus, so I don't know if you've ever been there, but our main campus is here, but we have a campus in Arlington. We have a brand new building, so there's kind of a very small picture of it, but it's very nice facilities, and this is a conference that's held annually and kind of focuses on the research side of system engineering. Tends to have a little bit more of an academic flavor than the IS, for example, but all are welcome. We're also looking for sponsors, so if any you represent companies that you'd like to there's a number of sponsorship opportunities, so
Yeah.
we have that as well.
John, thank you. As you can hear, right, so there's a great collaboration going on already with the likes of like John you just heard from. And let me reiterate, so for the event, we are soliciting supports from the CAP members, and we will be reaching out to you all through newsletters and emails as such. Okay. And John, next talks about the SAGE competition, that you might want to say a few words about that.
Is there a slide for that, or is it?
Yeah, there is another one. Madam President, can we go to the next slide, please?
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, so this is so we host an annual competition for senior capstone or student capstone presentations, typically undergraduate presentations, but we do have graduate presentations as well. So we get it is a hybrid event, so it's both we both have in-person attendees, but we also get student teams from other parts of the country that join remotely. So we've had Purdue, Virginia Tech, Penn. So we get a number of outside universities well represented, and so we're looking to kind of expand that. And it's also kind of a way for us to I guess spread the gospel of systems engineering. I say so. A lot of undergraduate programs, I think have a focus on industrial engineering, and the systems can be a little bit of a afterthought, like the industrial systems engineering, system industrial engineering. And so the judging criteria, follow the V, and so there's a focus on rewarding teams that are doing good system engineering.
Very good. Thank you, John. And on the right-hand side, you can see on the slide, the venue and tracks. This is from past experiences, John. It might be updated, but you get the idea, right? What are the venues and tracks that the call for paper will ask for the applicants? And the call for paper is still TBD, but looks like, based on previous records, sometimes in early January or February it will happen. But the event will be sometime in April, the judging the competition. But those are TBDs, but I'll reach out to you as I know the dates for those. And like John mentioned, we're soliciting those who are interested in being judged. Please write to ambassador@INCOSE.WMA.org. All right, thank you. Let's go to the next slide. And I just only have a couple more. And speaking of judges, so the chapter is also launching its own Systems Engineering Excellent Award this year. And if you look at the bottom of the timeline, the slide, you see the timeline, right? The submission timeline from October 15th, which starts next month up to mid-December. Then judging will happen. Then the winner will be announced next year early, sometime in February, and we will celebrate the awards during March next year. So this is the first of its kind, started by the chapter, and I'm already communicating with INCOSE as well, because not just getting the judges, but also support from the mothership, if I may, and of course our chapter and our CAP reps. stay tuned for more information as you know, from a rolling wave standpoint, as they come, I'll share with you again through our newsletter and emails and monthly meetings. And I got one last to go. Probably this is probably one of the most exciting because it talks about for the students and student chapter, the 2026 summer internship and employment opportunities. So which is being discussed with both CAP members and the student chapters. And the working use cases are already here. You know, the CAP member called General Atomics Integrated Intelligence Inc. has already been sending opportunities for both entry level and mid career. And for the student chapters, I have been sharing mainly on the entry level opportunities. We're going to continue to do that. And in addition, in the future, what other CAP members would want to share those opportunities, I'll be continually sharing those to the student chapters. And thank you, Don York, for SAIC. He is already onboarded to have further conversation for the internship opportunities. And stay tuned, student chapters. As you know more, I'll keep sharing. Now, for the January 2026, we will be engaging with CAP members and student chapters for both opportunities. And like what Madam President mentioned earlier, we're going to be also hosting the resume review sessions for the students as they embark their journey for either internship or job, right? And coordination in INCOSE, I'm in communication uh, to discuss this, how we can get support and how we can top down funnel these opportunities and how we can use local filter to make it relevant for the local students. So that's the update. Madam President, back to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. There's a lot of work that is going on in the area of the ambassador. Are there any questions thus far with regards to what has been presented? Okay, great. All right, so next up, we have our communications chair. Paul, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, I can't be in person. I'm out on travel this week in Colorado. Over the summer, I spent a bit of time trying to streamline and expand our social media presence. So at the bottom of our website page, you'll see little icons for each of the social media streams that we have access on now. So we have Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube channel, which these recordings get posted to the YouTube channel afterwards. Instagram, so whenever we have events, we tend to post sets of pictures from those events on Instagram. X, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Threads. So whatever your favorite choice of social media is, please feel free to follow us on it.
All right. Well, I think that Paul has all of the most popular platforms covered. So if you're looking for information regarding our chapter and even INCOSE at the upper level, feel free to look on any of these platforms for information and events. Next, we have our newsletter chair. Nalini, are you on the line?
Yeah, hello. So Paul just pushed out the issue 2 of newsletter on Monday. So you should have an email from Paul Monday morning. This is the new version of the newsletter. It's a shorter PDF that came through, and the PDF has the president's letter as usual, but the rest of the newsletter has been changed to take a form that's more conducive to modern newsletters, where we have snippets of different topics and the main articles being linked out to lead to a hosted version on the website. So it's a much smaller newsletter, but we do have a lot of content. So please follow the links and it'll take you to the full articles. And so that's the new format. So be eager to hear your feedback on how you like the new format and any improvements going forward. We did not push out issue 2 as intended or planned at the end of second quarter. So we will be looking at 3 issues for the year. And so the remaining 3 to 4 months, we have some time to work out the last issue. So I will be sending out a request for input in the next couple of days. And tentatively, we'll have a deadline of submissions by mid-October, so we can work it in and release the newsletter well before the holidays. All I have. Any questions?
Well, I just want to piggyback on what was just stated. If any of you all have any information, articles, events that you know of that you would like to have included in our newsletter, feel free to send an email to Nalini. His email is there, or newsletter at INCOSE.org. Either way, INCOSEWMA.org, I should say. Feel free. We are always welcome to any articles on systems engineering that you have, any new information, insights. So feel free, and we will get your articles in there. All right. So the next item on our agenda is the list of information from the program chair. Ruchira, are you on the line? I'm thinking no. She wasn't feeling well. So here is what has taken place thus far this year. These are the events. If you missed them but would like to hear these presentations, they are available to you on our website. Here is what is planned for the remainder of the year. As I mentioned, we were on break for July and August, and here is what is planned for the remainder of the year. So we have 3 more monthly meetings, and then we will have an end of year holiday party in December.
Is Dr. Salato going to be presenting today or in the future?
In the future. Unfortunately, at the very last minute, he had a family situation that he had to take care of, and so that prevented him from being able to be with us this night. All right, Kathleen Flynn, are you available?
Hi, good evening. So this slide discusses our upcoming event that's planned for this quarter, a professional development workshop where we're going to have an opportunity for resume reviews and learn about strategies for having a successful interview. It's going to be a hybrid event, both in person and online, and there will be an opportunity to have resumes critiqued both by a professional career development professional as well as your peers. So please be on the lookout for more details. That will be forthcoming soon. And on the next slide, it, as always, would be wonderful to have others join the events committee. So if you have any ideas or suggestions for events, are interested in leading an event, whether it's something from a happy hour to a tour, any in-person and or virtual gatherings to connect with the systems engineering community in our area, please reach out to me at the email address listed there. Thank you. Back to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right. So next on our agenda is the elections. Dr. Sue, would you like to share with regards to elections, or was that you?
Yes, and thank you so very much, Madam President. So we have our elections again. This is the timeline. So back in June, we convened and formed an election and nomination committee. And so this is the month that we'll be looking for members to volunteer to become part of the board. We have one position that we know will be open, and that's the vice president, president-elect position. And the entire board will be up for election next year, not this year. So the schedule is what you see here. The election committee will be contacting you, the members, asking you to consider putting your name in and run for this particular position. The description of the vice president, president-elect position is there. You want more information, give me a buzz, and I'd be happy to download whatever information we have out of our operating procedures and our bylaws. So the vice president and president does a lot of stuff, but it's a great position, it's a great opportunity to contribute, to learn, and then to take over as the president the year after. Next slide, please. So I also have another job that is over with the PMI WDC, where I'm the vice president for professional development, and I'm ending my term at the end of this year. And so one of the things that I tried to do there was to engage the PMI community in forming communities of practices. This is where a group of people with interest in domain would get together and then learn in that domain. And the reason is that with the number of people that are part of the a chapter, it's very hard to get focused attention on specific items, which only is available and is only interesting to a small group. And so this is an opportunity to form these small enclaves of expertise. And so we have two community practices that we are working. One of them is systems thinking and program management. And Dr. Ra is the moderator for that. He has a webinar schedule here for the 24th. And we have, I'll make sure that we get the linkage to the registration onto the site so that Paul can put it onto our website. It's free to INCOSE members, and it's worth a PDU. Okay, so check it out. You may be interested and want to join on. We have a second COP, and that is project management and program management collaboration with systems engineers. And the moderator of that is a program manager. And he is working through to form that particular COP. In fact, right now, he is having a session with the folks over at the PMI and INCOSE Integration Working Group team to go and work the schedule for the rest of the year. And so I will be posting that also through Paul onto the website. It's a good thing to get involved with. And it's interesting because now we have the program managers pushing to go into collaborative engagement with systems engineers. Next slide, please. So one of my other tasks as the professional development vice president is the annual conference. And so PMI WC has its annual conference coming up. It's going to be the 24th and 25th of October, 2 days. It's going to be held at the Hilton, Washington, D.C. At L'Enfant Plaza. It's going to have it's going to have a bunch of speakers from the government in terms of panel sessions and keynote speakers. Opportunity for 13.5 PDUs. And the focus is on AI in project management. Next slide, please. So this is a cartoon of the Rona show. The first day is awarding gala. It will start in the evening, and there's going to be awards and nominations. It should be a fun event. The second day is the professional development day. That's where we will be having speakers come in and talk to the audience. There'll be 12 breakout sessions, speakers, and there'll be 3 workshops. Next slide, please. And this is some information about what's happening with the workshops. You see there on the second line, Frank and Dee Bartolomeo. he is a PM and he is a CSCP, and he teaches a session on interview skills. He used to be in the Washington D.C. area, but he is now retired to Mount Pleasantville in South Carolina, and we got him up here to go in and do a workshop on that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, this might be something good to do. Next slide, please. So we have a special relationship with PMI WC with respect to our two chapters. And I, as a member of both organizations, always trying to do things so that we could be more collaborative. So they have shown here the registration prices for the various categories. But we, as INCOSE, has a special discount code, and it is right there. It's $50 off the registration for the member. And if you get your company organization to have 5 or more people join, then the 5 people, the 5 attendees will sign in at the $360 rate, which is the early bird rate. And so on there also is a QR code for those people that use QR codes. And on the bottom is the URL for those people who use URLs to go into the registration site. Next slide, please.
I believe that's your last, Dr. Sue.
Yeah, so any questions? Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So we are now ready to share with you what we learned and saw and took in while we were at the International Symposium in Ottawa, Canada. Thank you so much, Paul, for gathering these pictures here on this slide. And I'll kick it off by saying artificial intelligence was highly discussed throughout this event. There were several key topics and insights, as you see here, mainly understanding that AI is here to stay. It is part of INCOSE's 2030 strategic plan. And we were there to learn more about the how AI works in terms of how it is augmented with regards to MBSE. There are a variety of ways that AI is used in terms of strategic planning, road mapping. I'm not going to go into all the details here. These slides are also available to you. But just wanted to let you know that artificial intelligence and systems engineering go hand in hand. And so some of the emerging things that came out of it include AI is not equal to automation, it's augmentation, emphasis on trust, transparency, and governance. AI is driving a paradigm shift in systems thinking, and therefore our systems engineers. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit with you. And then I'll turn it over to Paul, who sat in on some of the SysML tutorials. Paul, over to you.
Right. So the International Symposium was technically the Monday through Thursday of that week, but over the weekend they had a number of workshops. And one of the workshops was the Introduction to SysML v2 tutorial, which was led by Sandy Friedenthal, who is one of our INCOSE members, chapter members. So it was really good to see him again and get a good overview of SysML v2, which was just approved a few weeks prior to the event on July 21st. Provided great overviews supported by Frank Salvatore from SAIC. And what was interesting was SysMentry, SysID was one of the tools that was being showcased throughout the International Symposium events. Provided hands-on access to the tool to review some of the textual notation and visual graphical form of the SysML v2 language. So it was a great tutorial for anybody who's familiar with version 1 or not even familiar with version 1 and curious what V2 is looking like to get a good understanding of the broad changes that are coming about. Then on the next slide, similar to what Dr. Studevant just said, there was a large emphasis on model-based system engineering, digital engineering, and artificial intelligence throughout the entire symposium. I work for Lockheed Martin, and earlier in the year, I went to our internal Lockheed Martin Fellows Conference, which had very similar themes. So it was really good to see the overlap and the differences that our internal company was taking it from more of a product application perspective versus how the INCOSE community was taking their perspectives on it. One of the interesting presentations that I saw that I thought was a novel approach, they took large language models and applied the INCOSE defined system engineering roles and asked the large language model to rank them against the various personality types from the Briggs-Myers evaluation. So it was interesting to see for like a system architect or an integration lead or the various defined positions, what types of INTJ or ESTJ personality types fit well or not well within those role types. It's definitely not a perfect match, but it was really interesting to look at the analysis and the way that they used AI just for something that simple. And then, as Luanda knows, we attended one of the business meetings was the INCOSE Americas sector meeting. I think myself, Luanda, and Bill attended that. Did some of our business discussions of what's going on within the Americas sector. Got to meet some of the other sector board members, chapter board members. Then Renee brought us out to dinner to have some dinner and fun and get to know the other chapter members and other sister chapters within the Americas sector. Bill, Luanda, do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, so it was very nice to be able to talk with other chapter leaders to hear some of the things that go well in their chapters, as well as some of the struggles that they may have that may be similar to what we experience here in WMA. So it's very nice to be able to get together and rub shoulders and compare notes and see how we can help one another. It's a fun group. I mean, meeting people from Norway and Ireland and, all of these wonderful countries that, ordinarily you just don't meet in your everyday work or school. Well, maybe here, I don't know, maybe. But it was quite nice to be able to sit down shoulder to shoulder with some of these folks from all over the world. So that is my add-on. And if you're finished, Paul, then next we have Kathleen.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
I am.
Great. So I also had an opportunity to attend the International Symposium this past July with the WMA chapter, and here are a few of my thoughts and takeaways from my experience. It was great to experience a new city, getting out and about in Ottawa and learning from the local culture and perspective. I thought INCOSE did a really great job during the plenary opening sessions, introducing all the attendees to Canadian culture, the history of the nation, and the geographical diversity of the nation. There was a wide variety of different talks. There were papers that were presented and various panels that were very informative. And in addition, there were many software vendors that were in attendance and sessions led by the conference sponsors. There were lots of opportunities for in-person networking, which was great. Always a benefit of attending a conference like this in person, getting to know people and talking face to face. One of my biggest takeaways from this particular conference was that I was introduced to a wide variety of new perspectives and ways of thinking from the technical presentations that I attended. I largely tried to focus on the technical talks, so the following slides are going to be some outbrief from what I learned during those talks. So can move to the next slide. So there were a few different keynote talks throughout the event. Each of the speakers brought their own skills, experiences, and perspectives. The first talk by Langdon Morris was on AI and the future of systems engineering in an AI-driven world. I would say that his presentation wasn't entirely optimistic. I think what I took away from it was that we can't fully trust AI models right now, of course, and we always have to validate the results that we receive from those tools. I also took away that the role of the systems engineer, specifically the human in the loop of systems engineering activities, won't be going away anytime soon. I think systems engineering is an art as much as it is a science, and while AI brings a lot of great things to the table, it's also important to consider AI as a system in and of itself, and think about things like the environmental impacts, the hardware and infrastructure that is required to power AI. And then there was a talk from a European space startup that was also quite interesting from the perspective of a system that has unfortunately failed in its mission, the spacecraft that was built very quickly, kind of a single product, rapidly produced. And from what I took away from the talk, SE best practices were done maybe in a very agile and very fast-paced environment, which may have led to some of the failures of the first system that was developed by this company. In my opinion, the best keynote was by Robert Thirsk from the Canadian Space Agency. He was an incredible storyteller, and like from the very beginning had the audience captivated and thinking that he was describing a real world situation, where in fact he was actually describing a simulation related to a mission going into space. So it was really cool to hear how he framed his narrative and how important test simulation is, and what it brings to the real world missions that SEs help to simulate. And then finally, there was a keynote talk that was focused on various dignitaries and like luminaries throughout systems thinking, and some really impactful and insightful quotes that were shared by Mr. Donaldson from figures that have influenced his own personal life. So if we move on to the next slide. So this is a series of systems engineering skills models that was presented at a talk titled Achieving Harmony in System Design. And the presenter during this talk was really focusing on how SE specialties are rarely realized in isolation. The SE is really influenced and creates influence in various levels of a system. So in her opinion, the SEs who will be the most successful are those whom have had deep expertise at various levels, while are also able to communicate and collaborate at that broad general level. So it was interesting to think about how this design of the ideal SE has evolved over time. Next slide. This was from a presentation by Saab and Boeing, where they were discussing how they're using the INCOSE SE competencies to really develop their workforce. It was interesting to hear how they're applying MBSE to really measure and manage the competencies of the systems engineering staff in their organizations. One of the key takeaways here was that the role of an SE that you might play on your team, your title, doesn't necessarily align to a specific competence. Competencies are applicable to almost any kind of role. Yeah, just some interesting nuggets on how the competencies are not one size fits all, and you have to tailor and customize them to meet the needs of the roles in your organization. Next slide. This was from another presentation that I really enjoyed. This session was discussing how practicing model-based systems engineering doesn't necessarily equate to being a good engineer. Some of the tool features that are available can be confusing. Sometimes it can have a very steep learning curve, and teaching MBSE in the eyes of this presenter, overemphasizing modeling has often come at the expense of engineering fundamentals. She believed that it's really important that we get back to basics, make sure that we're following good, sound systems engineering processes while also learning and teaching MBSE. But having SE first thinking is very important. And just having the best tools doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best engineers. So I really liked this presentation. Some recommendations she had to kind of integrate modeling into your SE processes was creating a model-based SEMP, and also ensuring that milestone reviews are held in the model. Kind of taking baby steps to integrate modeling, especially if your organization isn't fully model-based. Next slide. So this was a presentation from Deloitte, who are MBSE consultants on a few defense projects, and they were presenting some experiences that they've had using models to make decisions. So oftentimes it's not clear to various stakeholders what the inputs are from the model, or what outputs from the model should be reviewed and analyzed in order to make a sound engineering decision. So they were discussing, in this case, exporting relevant model content and perhaps putting it into a graphical tool that could make things maybe more visible, depending on what the stakeholder needs are. Tailoring your presentations or reviews in the model based on the needs of the key decision makers in your organization. I think they just made some good points about how a lot of times we can get lost in the model. We have so much content in there, it's difficult to navigate. Content gets stale. We're not regularly maintaining our model content in a means that would allow us to quickly curate the right viewpoints that are needed to make specific decisions. So just keeping that in mind when we're developing our MBSE content. Next slide. All right, this was a presentation by Ryan Noguchi from the Aerospace Corporation, and he had some good insights on different standards that are used for integrating different model types. He made some insightful comments about how oftentimes, the producer of model content is not going to be the consumer of the model content. Just as was discussed in the decision-making presentation, it's important to have views that make your model content usable, allow your models to integrate with various engineering applications, and tailor your model so that it's fit for purpose for your specific project needs. Okay, next slide. Right. Another very key focus, I would say, of this particular conference was security, understanding cybersecurity needs from an SE perspective. I really liked this quote from this particular presentation that oftentimes security culture is focused on protecting the enterprise, and there's not enough focus on products and services. Sometimes it's, at a very high level, the security of your system or system of systems, but when you get down to lower levels of the system architecture, making sure that we build in a security awareness and ensure that we're considering security needs and requirements at all levels of the logical and functional architecture. Another quote I really liked from this presentation is that when you make security everyone's job, it makes it no one's job. So having SEs who are trained and understand security needs and requirements and perhaps specialize in that area, he has been successful for projects. All right, next slide. This was another presentation from Joanna Joseph at the University of Arizona, and she, I think, brought a really great perspective to the kind of philosophical side of making decisions based specifically on verifying your system. So the lens at which a verification or a test engineer is looking at your system may often be biased based on the experiences of that engineer, the information they were provided, the knowledge that they already have about the system. So some of my key takeaways were having a diverse team of test verification engineers, also having testers and verifiers who are completely unbiased or as unbiased as possible, perhaps have no prior awareness of your system, participate in the verification process. Next slide. This presentation discussed complexity and a framework for dealing with various levels of complexity in the system. I just thought that these charts and graphs provided a different perspective, one that I hadn't really considered, especially when you're dealing with complex or complicated systems, how many factors play into determining what that level of complexity is. And the links between the various components in your architecture for complex systems get almost unmanageable. So just having methods to deal with breaking your system apart into as simple as possible components that you can analyze individually is beneficial. Okay, next slide. In this presentation, I really liked how the presenter referenced Donella Meadows. This book in particular, I was introduced to in grad school at JHU, and I thought it's quite profound and really gives a very unique perspective on systems thinking. Being able to design elegant systems often requires communication and collaboration between so many varied opinions, perspectives, and personalities, and being able to make decisions that are well-founded and backed by good engineering is often very, very challenging. So I definitely recommend this book if you're looking for a really great read on how important thinking in systems is. Right. Yep. So in conclusion, I have a few photos here of Ottawa. It, was neat to get out, explore some of the very ornate architecture of the government. So Ottawa is the capital of Canada, and they have some very ornate government buildings. Eat some good food, and I learned Ottawa is a very bike-friendly city. There were bikes everywhere and a really great bike trail along the canal. So it was a lot of fun to rent a bike and get outside. And on the next slide, I just have a brief summary to conclude my experience. Thought overall it was definitely a great experience. A few notes: it There was definitely a drop in attendees from previous conferences, although this was my first IS as compared to the IW or as well as other conferences I've been to before. It was definitely evident that unfortunately there were many federal workforce as well as military representatives who were unable to attend. While the conference venue was a really great space, it was definitely too large for the number of people who were there, which I think definitely impacted the overall atmosphere of the event. Almost all of the vendors and sponsors were software companies, which was interesting to note. A lot of newer like requirements, architecture, and modeling vendors that I previously hadn't heard of were at the event. I thought most of the sessions were really focused on academia and like the theoretical side of systems engineering. There were a lot of graduate students presenting. There were a lot of research focused presentations, and I think I would have liked to see a little bit more practical application and some more industry driven talks as well. I also thought the speakers and panelists would have benefited from more diversity. And yeah, overall, it was definitely good knowledge building and allowed me to walk away with a changed perspective, especially related to systems thinking. And it was great to network with people as well as connect with other people from my company who were there. If your company is a member of the CAB or you know someone who did attend, there all of the presentation material is online. Papers, presentations, some recorded sessions. For example, my company is a member of the CAB and they made the content presented at the conference accessible to us. So I definitely recommend looking into that and seeing if any of the topics interest you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And to close us out with regards to Ottawa, Bill? Did you have anything you'd like to add or share? Is he still alone? Bill Scheibel? Maybe he's not. All right. Well, moving on to, well, first of all, did anyone have any questions about the International Symposium? I hope this has piqued your interest in attending one of the international workshops or symposiums. They offer a wealth of information, just a wealth of information with regards to systems engineering. So I highly recommend, and we are certainly working towards trying to assist with some scholarships to allow students to participate and be able to be involved firsthand. So in terms of what we are looking to do going forward, way ahead, we are planning to stand up a few committees, as I mentioned earlier, fundraiser at Chipotle to fund some scholarships. We are planning a resume review workshop, the election committee, and I'll mention regarding the newsletter, if you have any articles that you'd like to offer, we welcome them, and any ideas on events. Feel free in terms of reaching out to us to offer any ideas or information that you'd like to help the chapter in terms of being able to make a difference with regards to system engineering. But this is all that we have for this evening. I hope you all have some takeaways of your own. Thank you all again for joining us. Sorry we had to change our agenda due to the presenter not having an emergency on his end, but we will try and reschedule him at a later date. Thank you all again.
Thank you.